Gentlemen, online hate is just a basic part of life on the internet. Hate flies around cyberspace like water on a rainy day, and getting angry at haters and troll online makes about as much sense as yelling at the sky when it rains. It's just the way it is. There's not much sense in getting upset about it. Online hate, just like rain, is a force of nature. That's why it's often a good idea to pick your battles very carefully about whether or not you actually want to push back against some of the online hate. You gotta know when to let things slide and when to fight back. Which brings us to the topic of this video. Have you ever heard the phrase, revenge is a dish best served cold? It means that payback that is executed a long time after the initial wrong was committed is often the sweetest revenge. Why is that? Well, it's because the person thinks that they got away with it. They think that they got away unscathed. They thought that they could hurl their slings and their arrows at you and that nothing would ever hit them in return. And with blissful ignorance, they have gone about their lives completely unaware that their retribution is slowly but surely creeping closer and closer and closer.
And then one day, when he least expects it...
You see, my friends, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, way back in the far-flung distant past of 2018, I made a video called Women Are Ruining Star Wars, which, as you would expect, with a title like that, it upset a few people. But the video itself was really a critique of the, at the time, current business strategy of Disney with what they were doing with the new Star Wars trilogy. It was my belief that Star Wars as a brand was built off the backs of mostly nerdy men. Yes, of course, there are a few Star Wars fan girls out there, but when it comes to the most active consumers of Star Wars, it's almost entirely nerdy men. And I predicted that if Star Wars continued with this hostility towards the old school male fans, the trilogy would basically end up in a toilet by the end of the new sequel trilogy. And after this video of mine came out, a couple of you guys linked me to some rather hostile Reddit posts about my views. And I thought at the time, maybe should I make a video about this? The saying is monetize your haters and all that. But upon seeing that these haters of mine had a ton to say about how terrible I was, but pretty much nothing to say about what my actual points in the video were, or they just completely lied about what I said, which is actually kind of an admission of itself that they know I was right, because if I was wrong, they wouldn't need to resort to lies and sidestepping my arguments. But I decided instead to just wait. After all, I had made some very clear predictions about what would happen to the Star Wars brand if they continued on the course that they did. So I thought to myself, let's just wait to see who's right. Let's just see how things turn out. Because when the new trilogy is done, when the dust has settled, when even those who used to criticize me and others like me, when even they are forced to admit basically the same stuff as I and the others were saying from the very beginning, then will be the time to respond. Then I will have the Thor-like hammer of authority in my hand because things turned out exactly as I predicted in that video. Then would be the time to strike. Then would be the time for revenge. Well, my friends, that day is today. For a long time now, when Googling my channel, one of the top results was this, a Reddit post trashing me on the official subreddit of the Weekly Planet podcast. Now, if you don't know, the Weekly Planet podcast, it's a podcast run by Mr. Sunday Movies. Yes, that's Mr. Sunday Movies. And up until the time that I uploaded this video, Mr. Sunday and I, we actually had quite a bit to do with each other. We did a few crossover videos, we used to chat on Skype quite a bit, we even met in real life once, and this was long before he ever did a face reveal or anything like that. Once I uploaded this video, however, that was it. He never spoke to me again. I assumed that he figured, maybe I was just a little too risky for his brand. He didn't want to be connected to me. Didn't want to dip his toes into those controversial waters, even though he kind of already has on his channel. He's taken shots at Donald Trump and stuff like that before.
Now, the reason I'm deciding to do this is because I feel at this point in time, there's been a lot of hate and distrust of other countries and cultures, talk of deportation and building walls to keep people out. A lot of which stems from a rotting jack-o'-lantern propped up on a pig carcass.
So it's not like he's afraid of dipping his toe in those waters. So I guess I don't really know what his problem is. But that's not the point. The point is that while this Reddit post that I'm responding to here is on the official subreddit of the Weekly Planet podcast, that doesn't mean that Mr. Sunday himself is the one who posted this. So nobody go and troll Mr. Sunday for this, because he's not the one who posted this. This was posted by this guy. an Irish guy who makes his living dressing up as Spider-Man at children's parties, and who goes by the username I Make Films. And I Make Films clearly didn't appreciate my video all that much, denouncing me as a sexist crybaby and proclaiming, "Into the bin, mate." Well, I Make Films, putting aside the fact that everything I said in that video came 100% true, putting aside the fact that time has proven me right and you completely and horrendously wrong, putting all of that aside, I Make Films, you have a little bit of a problem. Because you see, there's a law of the universe called cause and effect. What goes around comes around. You reap what you sow. You get what you give. Every action has an equal but opposite reaction. And nobody is immune to this. So when you anoint yourself as the holier-than-thou judge who is going to look down his nose and judge everybody else's behavior as to whether or not it is sexist, see, you have now created a standard. And while it may feel good, you puffing up your own self-righteous ego with this standard by condemning other people, it does come at a price. That price being, you have to practice what you preach. Because if you don't, someone, like me, is going to come along and expose you as the hypocritical fraud that you are. We all now get to judge you by the same moral code that you have judged everyone else. And I gotta tell you, mate, based off the pattern of how these things have gone in similar situations in the past, quite often it turns out that the person who accuses everyone else of sexism is the dude who is getting up to the really creepy stuff himself behind the scenes. But not you, I Make Films, certainly not. Oh, what's this post of yours? Lesbian dinosaur.
What do you call a lesbian dinosaur?
I don't know.
Like a platypus.
Well, that's not a very enlightened attitude, I Make Films. It seems a bit in poor taste for a man who proclaims such high moral values, but you know, I won't lie. I did chuckle a bit at that, and I can take a joke, so not really a big deal. Oh, what's this? You commenting on a woman talking about her bra. Not sure why you would even be in that thread, but let's see. She's talking about how the need for women to have comfortable fitting bras so it doesn't dig into them. Sure, I understand. Let's see what you have to say.
Females. Why?
What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, that sounds a little misogynistic, I Make Films. It kind of sounds like something that two guys at the bar would say. Females talking about their bras. Women, right? Women. I don't know. It seems a little sexist, but you know, maybe I'm just misreading this, because it's hard to pick up tone in text, and clearly the woman who made the original post also didn't understand what the hell you were talking about, so, you know, maybe it's just my bad.
Ladies, when you sit on our laps, we can feel your genitals when you laugh, sneeze, or cough. Keep that in mind.
Wait, we can?
Okay, again, that's not really sexist, but it's certainly weird. I mean, certainly seems like there's a bit of weirdness and creepiness kind of bubbling up to the surface here, I Make Films. I mean, why is a beacon of light and decency such as yourself even talking about this in the first place? And why do you seem so keen at the prospect of feeling girls? It's a little creepy.
I'm a little over 6'2", depending on the time of day because you're taller in the morning than at night. I always round up to 6'3". I don't think I've had to specify the actual measurement of my average does the trick.
Okay, good to know. Don't know why you're sharing that with us, but could you explain to us why you're looking at photos of muscular Instagram girls and commenting on whether or not they are muscular enough? I mean, that's objectifying women, I Make Films. Exactly the behavior that you condemn. I get the impression that this cleaner than clean persona of yours is actually just a front to hide what's really going on behind. And it seems like every now and then this mask slips a little and we get a glimpse of your real nature.
Is this anatomically correct? You actually in a woman's area like that?
Did you just call the uterus a woman's area?
Well, yeah, I Make Films. I'm pretty sure a uterus is a woman's area. I mean, are you implying that a woman's uterus is the property of a man? Because that's just about as sexist as you can get. I mean, wait, what were you even talking about anyway?
X-ray of...
Oh, that's disgusting. Yeah, I'm not going to open the image because whatever it is, I'm pretty sure that YouTube won't allow it. And if it's Japanese artwork, you know it's got to be bad. But what, did you forget to cover your tracks there, mate, huh? Forget to, like, switch accounts before you leave that comment? Oh, what's the matter? What's the matter? You embarrassed? What is it? You don't like that there's negative stuff about you online? Yeah, I know. It kind of sucks, doesn't it? Well, guess what, brother? Cause and effect. So you know what I say? You can take your holier-than-thou self-righteous attitude, your pervy online creeping, your dancing Spider-Man nighttime routine at the children's parties and your allegedly average package. You can wrap it all up in a big bag called Bandit was right, and you know what I say you can do with it? Into the bin, mate! But, this was not the only online hate Reddit post that was inspired by that video of mine. We have this one here. I hate Banditincorporated, a rant about a YouTuber I once enjoyed but not anymore. Unfortunately, it's been removed, but thanks to good old remover edit. Yeah, there we go. This one I have sort of skimmed before, but I've never really read through it in detail. And just because it's such a long rant, I feel like it actually deserves a little bit more of my time and an actual proper response, because I do kind of admire that he went to so much effort in writing all this. I feel obligated that I should read it. So he says,
I don't know how to start this post, and I don't know how to get it out any better than I am, so I'm just going to go flat out and say it with no introductions, or at least a proper one. I just want to get this criticism about a YouTuber off my chest so that it can stop bothering me and I can move on with my life. So here it is.
It's kind of sounding a bit like a breakup email or something.
Bandit Incorporated is one of the most overrated, annoying, hypocritical, negative, and overall really not good YouTube channels I have ever seen. Now, for those who don't know who Bandit Incorporated is, well, if you've seen his YouTube channel and his videos, you'll know who he is. He's like any other YouTuber who does reviews, he's a member of a weekly podcast, and one of the most special things about him, in my personal opinion, and yes, this is the one praise I will give him, is he has original content as well.
Oh, thank you, that's nice. I appreciate that.
His Who Really Won the Fight videos.
Yeah, unfortunately the copyright has just cracked down so hard that I can't really make those videos anymore, which sucks, because I really enjoy doing those videos, but man, just the copyright is so annoying. It's so annoying, YouTube. Can you just loosen it up, please? I don't understand how these bigger channels can actually operate, because you get hit so hard with copyright. I don't know, maybe because they're bigger YouTube channels, they have a different set of rules for them, but I'm still relatively a small channel, and it's brutal. This is why I don't really put clips up anymore. I'll just show still images, and I'll do the voice myself, and I'll have the little mouth moving. I just don't show the clips, or I try to almost never show the clips anymore, because you just can't risk it. But anyway, back to the hate mail.
And his How to Do It What It Should Have Been videos. Though even then, I don't think he does the How to Do It What It Should Be videos that much anymore. And even if he did, I don't want to see what they contain anymore.
Okay, now's a good time to bring up. A lot of people have asked, are you going to do the rewrites for the sequel trilogy, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker? I don't know if I have it in me anymore. I made a video breaking up with Star Wars, and I don't know, it's just, I don't have that joy and that drive in creating something in terms of Star Wars anymore. I just don't know if I have it in me. And there's nothing worse than making a video about a topic that you don't care about and trying to pretend like you care about it. I've never really done that before. That's not really what I'm about. If I'm not interested in a topic, I don't really want to have to fake it and pretend like I am. So I'm happy to just move on to new things. And I understand some subscribers still want more Star Wars stuff, but at the end of the day is I don't want to put out substandard videos on a topic that I don't care about anymore. That feels like I'd be ingenuine to you guys. Back to the hate mail.
So you're thinking to yourself, okay, if he's just like any other YouTuber, then how is he bad exactly? Well, this is where my criticisms start to come in, because Bandit Incorporated is also, in my personal opinion,
dude, you can ease up with using the parentheses. I get it. You use parentheses to do asides, but you're kind of overusing them.
Because Bandit Incorporated is also, in my personal opinion, very biased, sexist, annoying, obnoxious, hypocritical, egotistical, and completely unlikable.
Whew. Well, you gave me both barrels of criticism there. I mean, a question that comes to mind is, if I'm so obnoxious and horrible, how you ever watched me in the first place? I mean, I'm glad that you did watch me in the first place, but come on, I can't be all that bad. You just gave me, a nice bit of compliments about stuff you like, so I can't be that terrible, right?
And overall, over-exaggerates most of the claims he makes.
Well, that statement is a little bit of an over-exaggeration too. I mean, and you're making a claim there. But, there is a nature of, the rant on YouTube. It's not so much faking the rant, but it's just on YouTube, everything has the volume turned up. I remember the guy who's Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He said when he created that character of Stone Cold Steve Austin, he thought, I want to create a character that's genuinely me. It's genuinely who I am. It's just exaggerated. It's just way turned up. The volume's up to 11 out of 10. man. And that's basically Stone Cold Steve Austin. And it's kind of a bit like that on YouTube. You know, you're not going to get far faking who you are. You got to be who you are. But in order to be entertaining, you need to be a little bit over the top. So yeah, look, maybe I do exaggerate from time to time for entertainment factor, but I'm pretty sure that everyone who watches my channel is intelligent enough to realize that and understand that. But my exaggeration should not be interpreted as me being inauthentic. Like, this is still what I think. This is still what I believe. I'm just, for entertainment value, turning the volume way up.
Not to mention, he does not care about story or character arcs or how characters would act. If it doesn't make sense to him, then the movie and or TV show is complete and utter trash, no matter if the film or TV show is actually good or if it's just average or below average at best.
It's kind of hard to quantify these when I'm not sure which movies he's referring to or which TV shows he's referring to. But, I mean, I do care about story. I do care about character arc. That's one of the reasons why I don't like the new Star Wars trilogy, is there was no story arc, because I think it's pretty clear now they didn't really have a plan of where it was going, or if they did have a plan, they threw it out with The Last Jedi. So, yeah, I do care about story arc, and I do care about character arcs. I don't like it when a movie or an episode of a TV show will suddenly just do a 180 on a character and do something that's out of character. I don't like that. I mean, that's the reason why I review movies and I do the things that I do on YouTube, is because I care about these things. If I didn't care about story or character arc, I wouldn't bother talking about them. I'd just have a channel talking about, I don't know, unboxing videos, you know, whatever, I don't know. But something else is my point.
What do you mean by that? Well, for one, around the time Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi came out, and he made a tweet stating that he liked it. And I even remember seeing that he made a video on how to do Episode 9, implying that he liked it.
Yeah, I did make a tweet right after I came out of the cinema of seeing The Last Jedi for the first time, and I did say I liked it. That is true. Can I find it, actually? If I can, I'll put it up right here. Yeah, I did. But have you ever had the experience where, like, you see a movie and you walk out of the cinema going, oh, yeah, that was pretty good. But then after you start to think about it, then after you've had time to, like, let it marinate and just think about it, you're like, why did they do that? And why did they do this? And why did they... And this was very much the case with me with The Last Jedi. This is probably why you shouldn't tweet about a movie immediately after walking out of it, because often as a reviewer you need to sort of let things settle and sort of digest a bit before you figure it out. But for me, because like what I didn't like about The Force Awakens is that it took no risks and it was so paint by numbers, and you know, it was basically a remake of A New Hope, according to me. You're happy to disagree with that if you want to, but I felt like it was just a remake of A New Hope. So when Last Jedi came around and it actually took risks, my initial reaction was, hey, that was good, I appreciated that. It gave me something I didn't think about. It gave me something I didn't expect. It subverted my expectations. But then when I started to think about, but where are they going to go from here? And like, who's the villain now? I mean, they can't just bring back Palpatine. That'd be crazy. Which of course is what they did. So yeah, I mean, but we all do this, right? I mean, we walk out of a movie thinking it's good, you think about it and you change your mind later on. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure the person who's written this has done that as well. He just probably didn't have a YouTube channel to keep track of how his opinions change over time, that's all.
And I even remember seeing that he made a video on how he would do Episode 9, implying that he liked it.
Well, no, not really. I mean, just because I'm making a video about how they could maybe try to salvage Episode 9, and from memory, if it's a video I'm thinking about, I was pretty much saying, look, I think this is a shipwreck and there's not really much you can do. Here's how you could minimize the damage. I mean, if it's the video I'm thinking of that you're referring to here, yeah, I was basically just saying, how do we minimize the damage created by The Last Jedi? That's far from saying that I liked it because I made that video. No, I don't agree with that at all.
But then a few days or weeks later, it also may have been a month or two, but I can't remember.
Dude, ease up with the parentheses, okay?
He makes a BS video that is called Women Are Ruining Star Wars. Now, first of all, this is a very, very harsh title.
Yeah, dude, clickbait on the internet. Shocking, right? Yeah, is it really that shocking that you have to actually kind of get people's attention with your thumbnail and the title? That's not a shocking thing, but, well, actually, I shouldn't call it clickbait, because clickbait is when the content in the video does not match with the thumbnail and the title. Like if you're getting rickrolled. Do you remember that? Rickrolling, that was a thing. But having a provocative title that gets people's attention, which when they then watch the video, understand, you expand on what that means, yeah, that's not really clickbait. But yeah, you're right, it is a very, very harsh title.
And secondly, from what I hear, most of his examples and points are kind of hypocritical, mean-spirited, and contradicting as he compares Last Jedi's box office numbers to a female-led film. Also, how are women ruining Star Wars? Because as far as I remember, only one woman, in the form of Kathleen Kennedy, is damaging the reputation of Star Wars, if I remember correctly, depending on who you ask.
Oh man, these parentheses.
And also, isn't that kind of a very sexist title? Star Wars is not made just for boys, it's made for everybody. And no, I'm not just saying that because I am an SJW. Because I am not an SJW. Star Wars, you could argue, has always advertised towards a more male demographic.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said in that video, dude. That's exactly what I said in that video. Did you even watch the video? Maybe you didn't, I don't know. But if you actually watched the video and if you actually think about it for a minute, you can see what I'm talking about. I already explained at the start of this video that, and I think I explained it in that video itself, it's the Pareto principle. It's the 80-20 rule. It's like, yes, there's women who show up and buy the tickets eventually, but who is it that buys all the merchandise and sees the movies multiple times and buys the Blu-rays and gets all their friends involved and, indoctrinates their kids in Star Wars when they eventually grow up and have kids? It's mostly the male fans, the really hardcore fans, and according to the Pareto principle, the top 20% of your customers is responsible for 80% of your profits. So if you drive away that top 20%, you end up cutting your profits in half. Like, this is why soccer teams protect their star players so much, because those star players represent a disproportionate amount of goals that is kicked. This principle applies in all areas of life, and once again, I explained this in the video, but since a lot of the guys who are outraged at that video seem to be incapable of actually watching it or processing what I said, that's why we get these giant ranty blogs. Wouldn't it have been easier, dude, to simply watch the video I made and actually think for a minute, then go online and write this huge response to me? Because here you're echoing the same points that I actually said in the video as if they weren't in the video. They were in the video. If you had just watched it, you could have saved yourself all this trouble, dude.
Star Wars, you could argue, has always advertised more towards a male demographic, but before the newer Star Wars films has always kind of been marketing to really everybody. They were always marketing as a sort of family films, not just, well, I guess there's no other way to say it, bro films.
Yeah, dude, you're absolutely right. I mean, Star Wars is a 4-quadrant movie. It's a movie that appeals to all different demographics. But, as I've stated in the video, the hardcore fans who make up a disproportionate amount of the profit are mostly nerdy guys. Therefore, driving those guys away is not a good business strategy. And also, if you watch the video all the way to the end, you'll see I played a clip from Grace Randolph, who says basically the exact same thing as me. Is she a misogynist? Does she hate women? I don't think so. She is one. So, if you want to condemn me and call me sexist, you better go after her as well. You better make a blog of I hate Grace Randolph, she's sexist and hates women, because she agrees with me, not with you.
Are they trying to go towards a female demographic a little too much? Maybe, but you shouldn't blame women in general.
And I don't. If you watch that video, you will understand.
What you should blame is the one person behind it, and not just because she is a woman, that person being Kathleen Kennedy.
And if I had just gone after her, I still would have gotten people like you saying I'm sexist. It doesn't matter, mate. People will go after you regardless. Because that was the hysteria around these Star Wars movies, okay? And again, I totally understand why Star Wars is trying to bring in female fans, because you've already got the male fans. If you bring in the female fans as well, it's going to be a super duper franchise, but it's all about the way you do it. If you try to bring in girls by pushing out the guys, not really a sound strategy, and it hasn't worked out for them.
That person being Kathleen Kennedy, who we can all agree should probably be replaced by someone who knows what they are doing, like, I don't know, George Miller or Patty Jenkins or Kevin Smith or Jane Goldsman or someone like that. Not to mention, it pretty much makes him look like a hypocrite. And while I didn't watch the actual video...
And there's your problem right there, mate. Seriously, why do you not just... Okay.
Due to the fact I just didn't want to.
Yeah, good. Okay, so the title screened out people like you. Good.
And I decided to look at what other people said about it on Twitter and another Reddit post.
Oh yeah, I can guess which the other Reddit post was.
But when I was looking at the description they had below the vid's title, before you click on it, it's implying he changed his mind because of a bleep-ing video with Kathleen Kennedy.
Dude, why, instead of watching the video to yourself, do you go to Twitter, of all places, and Reddit, and look at what other people have said about it? Why don't you just think for yourself? You have a brain between those ears, right? You are capable of using it. Why are you waiting for other people to tell you what you think? Why don't you actually look at it and make a decision for yourself? This is called being an adult, I mean, I understand we're talking about Star Wars, so it's kind of ironic talking about being an adult. We're arguing about Star Wars. But, I think this speaks to a larger problem in you, dude, that you don't seem to have the skill to make intelligent decisions from yourself. You need to be told what to do by other people. It's just based off how you've handled this, that seems to be what I'm getting. Yeah, I'd encourage you to, instead of being angry at me, just maybe learn to develop that skill in yourself.
Really? Really? I don't like Kathleen Kennedy either, but bleep off. I wouldn't change my entire opinion on The Last Jedi just because of one bleep in comment that person made.
Well, it seems like you changed your entire opinion on me based off the comments of other people on Twitter and Reddit, so I think that's a little bit hypocritical, that's a little bit obnoxious, that's a little bit annoying and negative, which are exactly what you accused me of being.
I thought Last Jedi was average at best, but you don't see me calling it the end of a dream.
Well, this is the end of the I'm a fan of Banditincorporated dream.
Which he made videos on proudly, displaying the term end of a dream on the thumbnail, by the way.
But that was after all this. I mean, how do you know what videos I did and didn't make after this? Didn't you stop following me? Don't you hate me now? How do you know what videos I made after this, unless you're coming back to the channel? I mean, if you're still watching, great. I don't care if you're watching out of hate, or you're watching out of love, or you're watching out of indifference. That'd be weird if you're doing that. I'm just glad you're watching. But you just seem a little conflicted here, my friend.
Just because of one bleeping comment that Kathleen Kennedy made.
But it's not just one comment that Kathleen Kennedy made. It's many comments that Kathleen Kennedy made, many actions that Kathleen Kennedy made, many decisions that Kathleen Kennedy made that drove the franchise into the ground. The franchise did not fall into the ground because of one comment that Kathleen Kennedy made. I never said that, and you know I never said that. Well, actually, no, you don't know, because apparently you didn't watch the video, but then apparently you are also watching my videos, because you know about what I made after that, so who knows? But, you know, don't make up fantasies about what I did and didn't say if you want to claim that you didn't watch the video, okay? I will tell you what I did and didn't say. And if you don't know, you should maybe just keep your mouth shut.
Like seriously, grow the bleep up.
Hey, if I need to grow up, I think we both need to grow up, don't we?
Not to mention, he claims to like The Force Awakens more than the prequels.
I don't remember saying that, but it sounds like something I probably would say.
And yet he bashes on it and tears it apart like there's no tomorrow. And apparently he thinks every single new addition to this series or something different J.J. Abrams wanted to do, like for example, having the title scroll at the beginning, I don't know the actual term for it, have words in all caps, which is something we only see in the second films of the trilogies, but apparently according to Mr. Bandit, it's a bad thing and ruins the movie for him.
Yeah, okay. This is in the End of the Dream series. I talked about, again, he must have watched it if he knows this point I made. It was a thing, I think it was was it the odd numbered movies in the Star Wars trilogy? No, it was the first one. Yeah, it was the odd numbered 1, 3, 5, and then it would have been 7 as well. Whenever it has the certain words in the title are in all caps. Not a big deal, just like a little thing that would happen in the title crawl. And it was just a cool little tradition to keep going. But J.J. Abrams used it in his movie, which throws out the sequence, and it was just one little point I bring up, and of course he's taking this one little point I bring and again lying by extrapolating massively from that one point that he said the entire franchise is destroyed because letters were in capital in the opening title crawl. Dude, you gotta stop being so hyper emotional, okay? And you gotta stop lying about what I actually said. You cannot just take one tiny point of what I said, lie about it, lie about what I said, and then turn around and go, oh, he just said that the whole franchise is dead because of capital letters. Dude, stop lying. Stop lying. Stop being so emotional. Instead, just take my whole video, make a judgment for yourself. Don't go to other people on Twitter and get an opinion. Just make up your own mind. Or, just if you don't like my channel, it's not like it's costing you anything. It's free content. There's a million other channels you can go to out there. I'm not telling you to leave because I like people to stay on my channel, but it just seems an odd reaction to have. I mean, there's channels that I don't like anymore that I used to like. I mean, I just don't watch them.
Well, bleep you, why the bleep should that bleeping matter?
Yeah, it doesn't. That's why I didn't say anything you said. So you're basically, this is extremely, extremely white knighty of you. You're going to battle against me over something I didn't actually say. So you're not fighting a dragon. You're just chopping away at a tree here, and you kind of look stupid for doing it. That's what happens when you make up arguments in your head that the other person didn't say and then argue with the imaginary arguments. You just kind of look like a crazy person.
Yes, you could argue is more traditional, but Force Awakens is supposed to be a loving tribute to Star Wars fans, so I think it should get a pass.
And yeah, I agreed. I gave Force Awakens a pass. I just said that I hope that when they build on the story and continue the story forward, they actually take some chances. And instead they they overcorrected to the extreme and subverted expectations to the point of destroying the entire franchise. It's like, there is a difference between being freezing cold or burned at the stake. There is a happy medium in there. That's basically what I was aiming for.
Also, Kylo Ren stopped Poe's blaster from shooting him at the beginning. That is not ruining anything because Vader in Empire stopped Han's blaster from shooting him in Rogue One.
Because in my fan fiction, I made it that Jedis cannot stop blaster bolts in the air. So then when Kylo Ren did that, I was like, oof, that's kind of ruined my fan fiction there. But, you know, I didn't say that ruined the movie because the movie doesn't have to obey the rules of my fan fiction. But I do think that Vader, when Vader was stopping the blaster bolts, he wasn't using the Force to stop the blaster bolts. He was using his metal hand to stop the blaster bolts. That's why sparks flew off his hand when the laser hit him. Because, you know, when blaster bolts hit walls and stuff, they don't just shoot right through the walls. There's like a sparkly explosion. Same when it hits Vader's hand. So a technical note, I don't think he was using the Force. I think it was his hand.
And in Rogue One, if I remember correctly, in the epic hallway sequence in the end, he stops a blaster there as well.
Yeah, great, good.
But nope, according to Bandit, J.J. Abrams is Satan, and anything new in The Force Awakens is bad. Oh wait, he doesn't think The Force Awakens tries anything new, which is BS.
See, he's just raging. He's just raging against his imagination now. We're so far off the reservation of anything even remotely close to what I've ever said or done. And he's just raging. He's just a raging, nerdy guy on the internet. And I know I'm allowed to say that because I am a raging, nerdy guy on the internet.
No, I'm not just bashing on him. This is something that bothers me about people in general. When I hear them say The Force Awakens is a new hope.
Well, I mean, if you want to say that that story is not almost beat for beat, point for point, almost exactly the same as A New Hope, if you want to go die on that hill, you're welcome to do that. But I don't think you're going to find many other people who are going to agree with you.
Does The Force Awakens have some similarities to the original trilogy? Yes, a little, but I always saw...
Okay, he goes on about that. And he goes on, Rey did not have Uncle Owen and Peru, blah, 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 Jakku, Poe did not stolen plans. Yeah, he's just ranting at this point. Well, it is a rant, to be fair, so he did say it's a rant. But, hey, look, I mean, you're just saying, hey, I didn't agree. Okay, do you hate everyone who you don't agree with? You know, I mean, so what? Just, if you're looking for a channel where there's some guy who has exactly the same opinions of you on every single thing, you know what you need to do? You need to start your own channel, make your own videos, and then you can just watch your own videos over and over again so that you can just agree with yourself all the time. That's the only way you're going to find a channel out there where the guy says everything that you agree with. Okay? I'm sorry if that upsets you, but not everyone in the world is going to say exactly what you think they should say, or think exactly what you think they should think, or do what you think they should do. That's not the way the world works. So this is a lesson. Hope you learned it.
Okay, this article is becoming very long, so I'll just get to a quick speed roundup on some of the other things I don't like about Bandit Incorporated.
You mean some of my opinions that you don't agree with, right?
In a review of the second episode of Episode 7 Game of Thrones, he claims a good decision for Jon would be to allow... Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, this is just more stuff that you didn't agree with. And if you hate people for having different opinions, then you're going to hate everybody else in the entire world, including yourself. Because the opinions that you have today are probably going to change over time. So not only do you have to hate everybody else in the whole world, because everybody has different opinions to you, you also have to hate yourself, because your opinions and your thoughts and your views and values will change over time as you get older. So good luck hating everyone and everything, including yourself, my friend. I'll just skip to the bit at the end.
Another thing is that Bandit is not all that laid back. Other YouTubers are just laid back and will not be so aggressive with their opinions.
Yeah, and you're free to go watch them.
But Bandit, he's not laid back at all. He doesn't care.
Wait, don't those things contradict each other?
He just thinks that what he thinks is the right opinion.
Yeah, it's my opinion. Whether it's right or not, I think time usually tells. Like if you make predictions about things and then what you predicted came true, yeah, you're objectively right about something. But in terms of opinions, I don't know if there is such a thing as a right opinion. You know, there's right facts, but opinions are just opinions. They're like buttholes. Everybody has one, as the saying goes.
Finally, he's just too negative and mean-spirited. I mean, in his early days, he used to have more positive videos to balance out the rants and negativity, which is something I think most channels should have positiveness to balance the negativity. Bandit does not have that at all. It's only negativity, and that's it. Even in his videos that once helped balance out that negativity, he always has to rant about something, and it's very sad.
You know what, in a way, I do kind of agree with you on that, because when my channel started out, it was all just love of movies, and, you know, movies were a wonderful thing that united people of different views and different backgrounds. Pop culture united people. But, you know, I didn't make movies hostile and controversial and political. The movies did that. I didn't get more negative and controversial. The movies got more divisive and controversial on their own. And, you know, I've mentioned this on the channel before. This is a real difficulty movie. This is something I struggle with on the channel, because it's like I want to explore the themes that these movies bring up, but when these movies brings up are politics, and I don't really want to get into politics, but then you kind of have to in order to review the movie. But then if you review the movie without talking about it, what's the point of even reviewing it if you're ignoring the main core of what the movie's trying to say? So it's this weird situation to be in. So yeah, and I agree that reviewing movies a little too much can make your channel a bit too negative because of that result. So as it is right now, like part of the reason I'm making this video is on my channel now I thought I'll just kind of make videos about stuff that I want to talk about, because after all, I mean, there aren't any movies in cinemas right now anyway, so it's not like I really have the option of doing that. So now I'm just kind of talking about what I want to talk about, and I hope that people find it interesting. But I'm always going to do movie reviews, and I'm always going to do the more detailed breakdowns and analysis, and I'm going to come up with new concepts and new ideas of videos to make, like the Who Won the Fight. They were great fun, but with the copyright I can't do them now, so I'm just going to make something else, and I'll make a new series. I think it's important that you have to keep growing and changing and coming up with new stuff. You can't just keep doing the same old thing over and over. In fact, I do have some interesting ideas of stuff I'm going to do, but I'll reveal that when it comes out. So yeah, there was a period where my channel got a little bit negative because I was angry about all the movies being destroyed and becoming a war zone of these culture wars that's going on. But when I started out my channel, it wasn't like that. Movies were just fun things we could all talk about. And yeah, I miss those days where the most heated arguments people would have would be about who would win in a fight between Batman and Superman. We get into very heated arguments about that, but it didn't have the nastiness that all this culture war stuff now has. And it's a shame that it's all in movies now. Hopefully it'll pass and we won't have to do it anymore. But if not, the channel, I'll grow, I'll evolve, I'll do something else. But yeah, hopefully the channel's a bit more positive now than it used to be.
So in conclusion, yeah, I don't like Bandit Incorporated. Not anymore anyways. Now, if you don't agree with what I said, that's fine. Hell, I'll probably have people giving me bleep after they read this.
No, not really. Not really. My fans don't really mob up and attack people. And this video is probably the first time I've really sort of clapped back, as the Americans say. It's interesting because, see, you say my channel is so negative and I'm so toxic and I'm so horrible. Well, people who are like that, the people who follow them generally seem to have the same kind of attitude. So things can get pretty nasty when you go after them. But here, you've gone after me. Nobody's come after you. I mean, nobody's mobbed you. Nobody's, been trolling you with gore pics on Twitter or whatever else they do. So, kind of contradicts your narrative that I'm some portal of evil in the world.
And to be honest, I just wanted to get my anger out. I just wanted to get it out of my system, to be honest. But I don't want you to share this with Bandit Incorporated. I don't think he needs to see this. And if he does, I want him to find it on his own.
Well, somebody did share it with me, and I have found it.
This is just me getting my anger out of my system, so it can't stop bothering me.
Well, my friend, I mean, based off what we learned from you just from reading this, even if you do get your anger out of your system about me, you're probably just going to be angry about the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. That's what happens when you allow other people's opinions to control whether or not you feel happy or not, which is why, again, I advocate that instead of having other people form your opinions for you, you just form your own opinion.
But the point is that this is a YouTuber that I used to like, but the more he went on, the less and less he started to make sense to me, and he came off as negative. That is why I unsubscribed from his channel a long time ago.
Even though you're watching videos that I put out since then.
He's negative, he's hypocritical, he's obnoxious.
Yeah, negative and obnoxious. I think that's probably fair at times. Hypocritical, but dude, I guess he's talking about the Last Jedi thing, but dude, I'm probably one of the most brutally honest people, when it comes to my view of movies. Like, I've been pretty open that I like Terminator Genesis. If I was going to be hypocritical and pretend that I liked something when I didn't, or pretend that I hated something when I secretly liked it, wouldn't it be Terminator Genesis? Like, I didn't like Logan when everyone else did. I mean, this whole thing of hypocritical, because sometimes it's funny, like sometimes that comes up where people are like, I don't believe you, I think you're lying about your opinion when you say you like this movie. Why would anybody do that? Like, what's the point of that? So I mean, negative and obnoxious, yeah, that's probably fair, but hypocritical, no, I don't think so. I'm pretty straightforward about what I think.
He all around over exaggerates his criticism most of the time.
Yeah, but not you, dude. You've never done that in this article, have you? You've never taken one tiny thing and expanded it out and said that was my entire argument. Yeah, you've never done that. You've never over exaggerated your criticism. Certainly not.
He ruins the fun of films.
Well, I think Hollywood is doing a good enough job ruining the fun of films on their own. They don't need my help to do that.
And he's not laid back at all.
Yeah, dude, if you want a laid-back style, then you can go and watch Boogie 2988. He's pretty laid-back, at least he used to be. Isn't that funny how, YouTube has kind of changed over time? Kind of like life, kind of like people. Gotta learn to go with it.
I don't even want to talk about him anymore.
Dude, God, this sounds like a breakup letter or something from a jaded ex-girlfriend.
So I hope you like this, and not that I finally got it out of my system.
Stop saying got it out of your system. You said it like a million times.
I can sit down and look upon the sunshine.
Yeah, because you couldn't do that before. You look at the sunshine and then I jump in with my cat avatar head and like, ha, I'm stealing the sunshine from you. Come on.
Knowing that I finally accomplished what I wanted to do for a while, ever since I found that hypocritical Last Jedi video he made on his Twitter.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you set a goal and that you achieved it. Maybe next time you could set a goal that's perhaps a little bit higher, like perhaps setting the goal of analyzing information and making decisions for yourself rather than letting Twitter tell you what your opinion is. I think that would be a good goal. Maybe you could aim for that one next.
If you want to tear this apart, go right ahead.
Well, thank you, I have. Yeah, I mean, I do feel a bit bad because like this guy was obviously a fan of mine and he enjoyed my stuff and he felt personally attacked by the title of that video. Not even the video itself, just the title of that video. But I mean, look, I'm sorry, man. It's not my goal to attack you. That's never my goal in trying to attacking people. Well, actually, that's not true. It was my goal to attack Brie Larson, so sometimes it is my goal to attack people, but it wasn't my goal to attack you in making that video. So if your feelings were hurt, I'm sorry. But once again, that's life, dude. You gotta learn to deal with it. So, I am Bandit. This is Bandit Incorporated. This has been me reading my hate mail, and until next time, I will see you guys in the comments.